So where are you right now?
I am in Sammamish, Washington, my brother's place. This is the RV. There he is.
Oh, nice. Hey. This, nice. It must be nice being up there, huh? Reminds you of old times?
Yes.
Well, this thing right here, this is a relic of my past.
Hey! He should have played the Indiana Jones theme, imagine.
So I had to get that reveal for the show, obviously. As you can see, I have the scarf because I am not normal Indy. I'm the specific, haggard one where he has to wear the scarf because it's so cold here in this little hut. As you can see, my Native American friend is hunched in the middle of the room back there. He will stay there. I've told him to stay.
Good outfit.
I've told him, do not move a muscle. And people know that I will make good on my threats.
Hello and welcome to Now We Know, where we revisit traumatic and delightful kids pop culture of the 80s and 90s.
That's right. Each episode, we look back at something impactful from our youths through the jaded eyes of adulthood. I'm Indiana Tognati. And with me here, as always, is Kevin Werkheiser.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
I don't have a fun name for this. I'm sorry.
It's quite all right. For those of you who are fans of the show, surely you know that I am in costume specifically as the 51-year-old Indiana Jones, as Harrison Ford appears in that one episode of the Young Indiana Jones Adventures,
Chronicles.
where he toots on his saxophone. Chronicles. As I did earlier, I used to be a saxophonist, and I dusted it off just long enough to play, I think, 6 or 7 notes.
Toggy, the sax man. He was jazzing.
Hey.
Did you like it?
I was jazzing,
I did.
and I did like it. I wasn't jazzing. I used to play jazz saxophone. What I did today was not jazzing. Hello, everyone. I did want to add, too, I am portraying, as I said, early 50s Indiana Jones, an age which you said you saw him in this episode. Mm-hmm. I'm wearing this for Halloween, by the way. Did I mention that? This isn't a spontaneous thing.
Yeah.
This is a Halloween thing. You said during that episode that you saw him in that, and you were like, well, clearly he's too old to ever portray Indiana Jones again. Look at him.
Yeah.
I just want to emphasize that if you look at me dressed like this and you think, well, he's terribly wizened, he's way too old to dress up as Indiana Jones for Halloween, I would just like to remind you that Harrison Ford was, in fact, a year older than me the first time he played Indiana Jones, which means there's still hope, right, folks? There's still hope.
I'm sure whoever makes the next Indiana Jones movie will be looking for an unknown, as they did in Star Wars, if not Indiana Jones. He was pretty well known by the time of Indiana Jones, I suppose.
I tell you what, as long as they don't give it to Chris Pratt, then I'm fine with it. So, yes. Hello, everyone. Happy Halloween. Are you eating your candy corn? Are you?
Are ya? I'm not yet, but I'm open to it. I've yet to have a candy corn. I've had some candy, not a ton though.
Me neither. I haven't had a ton of candy. I'm trying to combat the regular Halloween swell that my body goes through from all that candy. And I'm attempting to combat it by walking everywhere, which is the only solution I've ever found to eating too much Halloween candy. Is to force myself to go for a brisk walk after I eat way too much candy.
The only problem is that then I go knocking on doors saying trick or treat, and then whatever happens, happens. I walk and walk and walk.
I think I'm old enough now that might stop working soon. Who's to say?
Especially since today's the day before Halloween. So typically it's most efficacious on one day of the year.
There's a lot of problems with trying to trick or treat when you are 30-something years old. I won't get into the specifics, but yes, we are here for a spooky movie. for a horror film, a giallo Italian horror film, appropriate for me as an Italian American.
Yeah. I thought of you various times throughout this movie. Which Italians did most reminded me of Chris. We'll get into it.
Okay, that's not what I was expecting you to say. I'm a little offended. This... I will give some light background here because I think we've referred to this on the show before, but I can't remember if I've tabbed it so specifically. So, the year is sometime in the 90s. I am somewhere between 8 and 10 years old. In those days, I lived in a little apartment in Corte Madera, California. Beautiful Corte Madera. This apartment had a living room with a TV, 2 sofas, 1 sofa. Imagine you're looking at the room overhead style. Oh no, it's mirrored. Here's the hallway that leads from my bedroom out to the living room. Okay. Then here is a couch vertically oriented towards the TV, which is here. So you can lay on the couch and you're looking right at the TV. Okay. Then over here is an armchair that also faces the TV. But the hallway from my room is behind both of them. Okay. Which means... if you sneak out of your room in the middle of the night, and you're very careful because the floor has creak zones. It has spots where if you step on them, it makes a noise, which means sometimes if you sneak out there and then you stay there long enough, now your weight is settling into the floor, even just trying to sneak back to your room is going to make a sound, so now you're stuck. Now you're stuck standing there or you will be caught. So, I sneak back there, God knows why. Who knows what I wanted to do, but I was curious, what's up? I can't sleep. Maybe I want to go get a snack. But this is late enough that I would be in trouble. I would be in trouble if I were caught. And so
your mom's texting right now. Wait, you were back there?
Yeah. I don't know that my mom was there. This feels like an only dad story.
Only dad.
Yes, but I come out, and what do I see on the TV but the last 5 minutes of this movie?
Oh, no.
And only the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, for the rest of my life, obviously this was very upsetting. Terrible, very upsetting, very confusing.
Yeah. Is this the root of your razor phobia?
That's an interesting question. I don't think so, because my razor phobia is more about wrist slitting than throat slitting.
Okay.
But, so for the rest of my life, I would say to Evan, because Evan's a big movie guy, show brother Evan, and one of his hobbies he enjoys is I have a haunted childhood memory about a piece of media. I don't know what it is. He tries to help me find it. We did this with Pet Sematary 2, which gave rise to our Pet Sematary 2 episode. So... I'm talking to him, I'm like, there's this movie, and I think it was like a giallo Italian horror just because of how it looked. I wouldn't have had the language for that at the time.
Right.
But looking back on it, I'm like, well, I remember there was like, not that it is Giorgio Moroder, it is not. It's one of the Goblin Men, one of the goblins. But I'm like, it has that sound... and all I remembered is somebody gets hit in the head with an axe. This is a slight misremembering, but you can see why. Get hit in the head with an axe against a white wall. Their blood from their head sprays all over the wall.
You can't turn the handle because it's covered in blood.
You can't pull the brutalist sculpture from your stomach because it's too covered in blood.
You try to open the door, but there's too much blood on the knob.
What is your question?
My question's about the budget, sir.
And then I told him, and then the only other thing I remember is that it is a POV shot of a guy awkwardly climbing out of some bushes and stabbing a woman in the gut.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember. And then I sit down with Evan, I'm like, maybe it's Dario Argento's Tenebrae, because I had seen all these Argentos, and every time I would sit down and watch one, I remember, I think the first time I saw Deep Red, Profundo Rosso, I think was with you. I may have told you about this at the time. I was like, maybe this is the one. So I was on edge the whole time. But one after another, I see these Argentos. It's not happening. Then I sit down for this one, and as it goes along, I am like, it feels right.
Yeah.
It feels perfectly right, but I'm not getting the sequence of events I remember. And then bang, it all happens in the last 5 minutes. I felt my heart in my throat. It was like, this is too much. I've been thinking about this for 25 years or whatever it was at the time. And it was deeply affecting, and I knew then that I had to do it for our next Halloween episode. So, very excited to bring Tenebrae here to the podcast. You had not seen this before, I assume.
No, I had not. I've seen a variety of Argenti, but not this one.
Yes. Yeah, you're a big Suspiria guy, as am I. I think, obviously, there's no accounting for how it impacts me based on the experience I just described. I think I like this a little more than Suspiria. I grant you that may be seen as heretical. I even think that I prefer the music, because I love that Tenebrae theme. It's a banger.
I'm happy for you. That is not my review, to give you an early peek behind the curtain.
Okay. Well, we're gonna be at odds here.
Yeah.
So Dario Argento at this point, most of the stuff that people really like of his was out of the way by this point. This came out in 1982. Suspiria, In the Rearview Mirror, Deep Red, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. All these movies, Cat O' Nine Tails. Is it Cat O' Nine Tails or is it 10 Tails? I don't remember. But by this time, his formula and his whole thing was very well known and very well trod. He set a lot of trends in Italian giallo horror. I didn't learn until researching this that the term giallo is based on the color yellow, because that was the color of this type of gross book they sold in Italy that told stories like these.
It's basically like saying Pulp Fiction. It's it's about how the coloring of it is. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. And so he was deep in his bag by this point, to the extent it's a pretty, I think he's a talented filmmaker, but the aesthetics he works with are very repetitive. Yeah. All of these movies have the killer, the POV shot of him stalking his prey, or her prey, as the case may be, stabbing someone, butchering them horribly, and they're always wearing black leather gloves, because this is Italy, of course, and we care about our fashion. This is, I think, his last good movie that I have seen. I have seen Opera, which I think was late 80s. That has a handful of good ideas and some good imagery, but when you take it on the whole, it's like the wheels are kind of falling off here. And he just really loses his fastball pretty hard. By the time you hit 1990 on, I don't think he did anything that's worth a damn that I know of. No. So it was exciting to see this one because I liked it quite a lot, and it was, I guess, the last of his movies that felt like of his classic vintage to me. I have not seen all of them, but this feels like it fits squarely within his classic run to me. And I guess we're gonna have to get into what it's about here soon. What do you have any Argento history of your own you want to share?
Not from childhood at all. I found out about
That's
Suspiria.
the preferable way to. You don't want to have one from childhood.
Yeah, it's true. And yet, that's the point of the show. Suspiria was the first one I saw of his, and I think of the giallo genre, and it is still my favorite. I think it is my favorite because there's a lot of his stuff, and this movie addresses it. It feels like everyone's complaints about this sort of movie, they all sort of stem from his thing, him and Mario Bava. And so, where it's like, just a lot of women getting stabbed. You really don't seem to like women very much, unless they've got their tops off. But even then, they're probably going to be killed for that. That whole sequence of things that then became, Halloween to an extent, and Friday the 13th to a much greater extent. That is like at its least clear, at its most abstracted in Suspiria, because Suspiria just feels so much like nightmare logic. You know, a lot of movies have dream logic. He at his best has nightmare logic, and there's some of that in this, but Suspiria is sort of nonstop that. But that was in my 20s. I didn't watch any horror growing up. I was a scaredy cat little kid. I remember once, I was thinking about this the other day, when I was, let's say 10, whatever year Aladdin came out, and maybe 9, and one of the kids at my school was like, oh, for my birthday, I'm going to go see Aladdin with you and maybe somebody else. It was not a big group. And I was like, great, I'll see Aladdin again. And then the day or so before, he was like, oh, actually, we're going to go see Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I was my mom says I can't. And then I relate
to this very hard as a kid who was scared of things it was shameful to be scared of. Seeing something that was setting out to be scary, and it being like, this is a last minute switch, but you're cool with it, right? It's fine. You're not a baby.
Right. And then because of me, we didn't go see Bram Stoker's Dracula. I didn't see that for another 10 years. And instead we went to see Aladdin. And then it's like, oh, I guess we have to see Aladdin, this movie this baby wants to see. It's like, this was your idea. It only just changed a second ago. We all love Aladdin. Don't act like we don't love Aladdin. We're 9. Terrible. I did not see a lot of Argento previous to being in my 20s and making my peace with horror movies as being something I enjoyed, which took a lot. But Tenebrae is one of them, and it came out the year I came out, so that's kind of fun.
That's true. R.I.P. Tenebrae production. Welcome, Kevin Werkheiser.
I am Tenebrae, reborn. Yes. Cone John Saxon. I was very excited when I saw Cone John Saxon in the credits.
That's excellent. You said, oh, a lot of these movies seem like he hates women, but don't forget, Kevin, he also hates John Saxon. John Saxon, the victim of one of the most brazen kills in any of these movies I've ever seen. Just a broad daylight.
Stomach stabbing.
Slip. I'm out of here. I did want to just quickly say, as far as, obviously, I knew you weren't going to agree with me that you like this more than Suspiria. That would have been impossible. I don't even know if you liked this one at all. I sort of ventured from your tone you weren't a big fan. I will say this. I've recently seen his original classic, Deep Red, which people love. I certainly think this is better than Deep Red. Okay. Deep Red I rewatched, and goddamn is that thing boring. It's paced so badly and so weirdly. You're just watching this cut-rate Italian Paul McCartney guy wander around. He goes to the house where the mystery is. He leaves that. He goes back and forth to that house 3 times. I swear.
Yeah. Like,
can we just move this along? So, I think he learned a lot in the intervening years, and that was well applied in such films as Suspiria and Tenebrae. Anyway.
Anytime you speak Suspiria's name, you should speak Tenebrae's name. To paraphrase Michael Jordan.
You cannot rave about the Suspiria and disrespect the Tenebrae. No, that doesn't work because Tenebrae came after. Right? Suspiria's 70s, Shirley.
Yes. Don't call me Shirley.
This is 82. Yeah. Tenebrae, as is true of many of his productions, was filmed in Italy. He is an Italian man. And in classic Argento style, they are clearly just moving their mouths. I mean, you can see that they're performing in English for the most part in this. But this is the style of production where it's like, speak your own language, we're dubbing this all in after the fact. Those of you who will not be speaking English will be speaking English when we release it in English. Your mouth movements will not match the things you say. But those of you who are speaking in English, it'll look okay, but I remember as a kid, this is the sort of thing that would get mocked a lot. Like, especially, there was a lot of derision towards, like, Hong Kong action pictures, the dubbing that would be done over that. A lot of that derision had to do with the voices they were using and the way they were choosing to portray those characters, which is inextricable from our old friend racism. That's right.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. But and most of those jokes not very good. But Michael Winslow, come on, Michael Winslow doing it is very impressive. Oh, he's moving his mouth, but the other words are coming out.
Yeah. But in this one, in the Argento ones, it's less like, well, let's make a mockery of this Asian man and the funny way he looks and moves, as so many of those like Hong Kong action dubs were in the 70s. They're trying to apply a little bit more of like this is supposed to be scary, so we want a slightly more grounded energy. That does not always carry off. The caliber of vocal ADR performances in this movie vary wildly. Yeah. I think the worst one is like the young queer journalist who interviews him in the beginning. That was like, this is like softcore porn acting that we're getting here in the voice at the very least. Yeah. But by and large, I think it's a style that is very effective for his type of movie because, as you said, dream logic or nightmare logic, it makes everything feel a little unsettling. The way the voices sound in these movies. Yeah.
And in this, as well as Suspiria, though I think a lot more egregiously in this, there's using the fact that it's like out of sync and everything feels weird and wrong as a plot point. That it's like, oh, I went back and I realized that I did hear this thing that someone was saying, but it was out of sync, so how could I be expected to understand that the words were coming out of this guy's mouth?
He does this, this is a real preoccupation of Argento's that sort of sets off in Deep Red, where, warning, this podcast will now include spoilers for 55-year-old movie? How old is Deep Red? Deep Red. Old. At the end of Deep Red, you find out that the killer was, during one of the first scenes of the movie, one of the first dreadful, foreboding scenes, her face is visible in a mirror as the protagonist is walking by. But no emphasis is drawn to it, so most people watching it the first time would miss it completely. And then you realize at the end, the answer to this terrible question in my head was in my head the whole time, but I couldn't retrieve it. Argento is very preoccupied about the idea of, like, the Mr. Policeman, I gave you all the clues. It's more than that. You saw everything. You saw what happened, you heard what happened, but your terrible, weak brain can't piece it all together because how you felt in that moment was just too terrible and weird, and you're too addled. Yeah. This movie does much the same. I will say, we're about to start going through it. I do think that, as our conversation about Suspiria, this movie has a turn. It has a turn about halfway through it in terms of your expectations. And I think it gets a lot worse after that turn because it is not hiding its hand well at all about what is actually going on. Yeah. That said, I feel that the climax of Tenebrae, the last 10 minutes, I think I prefer to the climax of Suspiria because I feel like it feels more propulsive and awful, but also incrementally more like... The end of Suspiria, my only issue with it is that it always feels like it's more of an ethereal, dreamlike thing, but it just kind of feels like the seas randomly part, and then she's in there and she kills the witch. Like, it doesn't feel like... It just feels like it loses something for me as it gets to the final note. Whereas this one, I think, ends at its own thundering climax.
That's true. It certainly ends at its strongest point. There's no doubt about that.
So yes, Tenebrae. Let's dive right in. Sure. We open up. I love this opening. As a cold opening for a movie, you're just watching. You see a black-gloved hands reading through this book. And the second you see the black-gloved hands, if you're an Argento head, you know this is the killer. Nobody wears black gloves whose eyes you are looking through in these movies, and they are not a killer. They are all the killer. A killer, at least. And he's reading through. You're hearing this over narration, this very mannered, well-lettered narration, reading the lines of this book.
The book is in Italian because it's an Italian translation, and that is part of the movie. I was like, wait, is this supposed to be Italian? But anyway, when you first see it, you see the word l'omicidio, L''homicidio, and
is that good?
Yeah, exactly. I wrote down Harry Potter ass language, and then later it's like prostitutio on another piece of paper. Again, everybody's speaking English as far as we're concerned, and some people even have like British accents. There's a Mario and Luigi stand-in pair that have British accents, and it's like, we know you're in Rome. Like, canonically, we're supposed to be in Rome. Why are they? Are the British? Do they come over and steal your job? Is that what was going on in 1982?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So we get this intro, and then the black-gloved hand begins ripping pages out of the book, crumpling them up. So clearly, this is doing something for him. Is he reading with one hand down his pants?
Yeah.
Is he reading with both hands, and it's making him angry? Is it making him angry and horny at the same time? That wouldn't be such an unusual mixture for this sort of story. For something to be inducing both rage and arousal.
Yeah.
But then we get, as we then come to the title of the book and the title of the film, Tenebrae, which means a Latin and Italian term for darkness, gloom, or shadows. So you could think of this as being called Darkness.
Or
Darkness, the movie.
Or The Shadow.
But when it's Tenebrae, it goes down a little smoother, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a good word. Would you concede that the word is good for what the movie is?
Yeah. That's true of Suspiria, too.
Sure, I'm not saying it's not. I bet if they made a remake of Tenebrae, it would be just as bad as that Suspiria remake was.
I wonder that, because we can get into this just so you can picture it if you haven't seen it. The feeling of Tenebrae, when it's not at the murder scenes, is too much for me. Like it's trying to be a legitimate film, a legitimate theater, and it's not. We still got the Italian budget. It still feels not right, but not in a way that feels intentional. So I think that if you fixed those bits and then you just kept, the horror bits would be way worse, admittedly. But I think what it's aspiring to is being a normal good movie for the rest of it, and that part just doesn't. It's just like, oh well, now you're lighting that could be distinctive and weird. I know you know how to do that. Instead, it's like, here's just some flat white lighting because I want this to be like a real picture.
Yeah. I can see what you mean by that. I think for me, like, the aesthetic even outside the murder scenes in this, I like quite a lot, and I like it because he has a lot of moments where he is like, there's a sudden interjection of something that is threatening and horrifying, but not the thing that is the main thing to be worried about, which is the killer.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, the sudden interjection of the confusing and terrifying yet mundane in this, which I think is well served by the, like, I don't know, a slightly more sedate, like, look to the movie. Mm-hmm. But, at least we can both agree that we hate the Suspiria remake.
Sure. Yeah, I don't remember it well, but I didn't like it. So we meet our protagonist, and his name is Paul Neal. He's writing Peter Neal.
Please,
he's right.
He's an award-winning author.
He's writing
not Peter McNichol. I know you're right about him riding the bike, but I just want to add that after we get the Tenebrae theme, which I talked up earlier.
Yes.
I love this theme. How do you feel about this theme?
I liked it. I had a good time with the theme, but I couldn't hum it.
Wow.
It's not burned in my brain from childhood. If you saw the last 5 minutes, you might have heard the ending theme.
The theme I had no memory of, but when I started hearing that theme, I was like, oh, I should be at the discotheque right now.
Yeah, it is fun. It's good. I wrote down soundtrack a banger. Obviously, that's
Okay.
the line.
All right.
But so we see the guy. He's like an older guy. He's the writer of Tenebrae, as it turns out. But he's riding a bicycle, and then he arrives at the airport, and he's been following a car that has his suitcase in it. And I wrote down Gavin Newsom type. And then for a bit, I was like, maybe I'm wrong. And then at the end, I thought, I'm probably actually very right.
No, okay. Well, look, we don't want to get ahead of the twist of this one here too much. All I will say is this is the first scene where you might think that Mr. Peter Neal, award-winning author Peter Neal, is a bit strange.
Yeah.
He is an older, he's like just on the older side of middle age. They're clearly trying to make him like, he's in his 50s, but he's still hot. He can still get any woman he wants.
Yeah.
Because he's Italian. He's not playing an Italian, but you're like, so this is the guy you got to play the American author. Huh? Yeah, it doesn't look Italian at all. It's funny that you mentioned Gavin Newsom, because watching it this time, I was like, wow, you know what 2 American politicians create Peter Neal when they do the fusion dance, or use the Patara earrings, the other way to fuse.
Okay.
Andrew Cuomo and another, he's running for New York mayor, former New York mayor Michael Bloomberg. If you put those 2 together, it's exact. It's exact. Okay. And if you go look at photos, you will be forced to agree with me. Right. It is haunting how right I am about this.
I'll watch the video version of the podcast where I can see you doing the blend or whatever it is you'll do.
Well, this is going to be on a quick turnaround because it is Halloween Eve right now, and this has to come out on Halloween. So I only have, 10 hours before the sun comes up tomorrow. We'll see how much I do, but I can't not put this in now. Yeah. Yes, so, Peter Neal, I watched this with Evan the first time. He was delighted by this detail. Because it's enough, he's riding his bicycle on the freeway. He's riding it. He rides over the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge, and then he's riding on a freeway in the middle of the lane, in front of like a box truck. He's not off to the side. There's no bike lane. He's not even acting like there is a bike lane. He's like, freeway speed is me on my bike. That is how fast we are all going.
Yep.
And then, he arrives at the airport, gets off the bike, and there is a nice car, clearly a chartered car, sitting there with his luggage for him to leave his bike with. When I saw this, I was like, that's really deranged. But also, I was like, God, if you had the money and were like, and you enjoyed biking, like, I was like, I kind of wish that there were things like this I could do. Like, I wish I were self-assured enough and rich and out of touch enough that I were doing things like this, you know?
Yeah, because, he's presumably following the car. So the car with his suitcase could be just having its hazard lights on, just driving at bicycle speeds, keeping it as safe as possible and keeping everybody out of the way. And just do your weird deranged thing. There's no one to stop you. I didn't remember this though. By the end of the movie, I had utterly forgotten all this happened. And this, I guess, is sort of, speaks to what you were saying earlier. But there is at the time I was just like, okay, it doesn't feel like it's a character moment. It feels like this movie is just doing stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm on board yet, but it's, I'm a little judgmental, I guess.
Okay. Well, he gets to the airport. It's a breeze, because this is flying in the early 80s. There's no onerous security state to be had. He's also rich. Mm-hmm. And, we've talked about the joy of moneyed travel, of knowing, like, if something the worst thing that can go wrong, as long as the plane doesn't crash, can only put it can't put a dent in my skip. I will just pay some money and keep on going. Yeah. He does get paged. They're like, Peter Neal, head to the information desk. You have a message. I feel like nobody's ever paging my name to go to the information desk anymore.
Yeah.
I never hear anyone getting that anymore. Yeah.
They will ask for people at the gate, the people that should have been there that are maybe on a connecting flight that hasn't made it, they'll page
Yeah.
them. But that's it. You certainly don't get the white courtesy phone call.
And what's the point of paging me? Anytime I've been on a connecting flight, I'm too late to get on my other. They don't hold the plane for me.
Yeah.
What, you just want me to know I'm missing it? Well, I know.
I think it's
okay?
that they keep it open as long as possible, whatever that number is. And they page you while they do that. That's my guess. Anyway, but what else they didn't have a problem with in 1982 was unattended baggage. He leaves his bag unattended, walks over to a different desk. It's a little telegraphed, and then he gets a call from his fiance, who is mad at him over stuff, and he's like, "Look, I'm going to Rome. I don't have time for this." Basically,
I'm a very important man, and I'm going to Rome, baby.
Yep.
Yes, he is going over there because of the launch of his new book, Tenebrae, which, given that the title is in Italian, one presumes that it is quite popular over there, and that he writes for this audience. Him biking here, too, also makes him immediately feel like a creature of Europe.
Yes, that's true.
So he flies across the pond. And then we see, shortly after he lands, or concurrent to his landing, a scene in an Italian bookshop. There's a very attractive woman.
Yeah, notably
And,
distractingly attractive woman.
Yes, and she is looking at a copy of Tenebrae, but she picks up 2 copies in one hand and is leafing through the top copy. I assume this is a way she is attempting to throw off the scent that the second copy will be slipped into her bag in a shoplifting incident.
Yeah, though then she glances around, like, as obviously as possible. So it's like a very smooth moment, and then she's like, did anyone see? But she's right to fear it, because she's been arrested 12 times.
Well, here's the thing. As this is happening, you are seeing a POV shot of a gloved person who is, like, audibly panting. Either with fury or desire. As we referenced earlier, why pick one? I reject this false choice. This is panting of both fury and desire.
Yeah.
And this person is, like, on the other side of the aisle, on the other side of the bookstand, peering at her. But then she's apprehended by the security guard, so you could be like, well, maybe the security guard was just, like, getting all hot and heavy, getting ready to bust this gal.
Yeah.
He takes her back to his office and is like, well, she says, I was about to go up to pay for it. I just slipped it in my bag so that I could go pay for it. He takes her back there, and he's like, well, I see you were right to, you're right to be worried because you've been caught for shoplifting 12 times. You would think you would know, you would have learned your lesson by now.
Yeah.
And she
you're
leans
bad
over
at
to
this.
look at...
You're very bad at this.
Yeah. And then she leans over to look at her file, in so doing revealing her cleavage to him. Mm-hmm. And she's like, look, come on, I'll give you my address. You can come have sex with me. She doesn't actually say that, but that's the insinuation here.
Yeah.
And you can just make this all go away. And he's like, okay, what's that address again? Why do you keep doing this? You should have learned your lesson. 5 seconds later, well, you are terribly too attractive to be caught for this, so I'll have sex with you instead.
Yes, very well. It is the Italian way. We are in Italy. But he does write her address in the, like, official, like, book. Which was shocking to me that it's like, this was how I dealt with this. And also,
it's so that the next guy doesn't have to ask for the address.
Right, you can just show up. And she, but it's, I mean, again, a different era. I gave you a random address. You just say, okay, I'll come have sex with you. Then you'll show up, but it's just some house. What do you, how is this the system? Yeah. And as if to indicate that, she goes out and I think gets on a motorcycle with some stranger. And immediately we get a hard cut to him landing. But what it looks like is she's like, meet me at my house. It's 1002 Rome Drive, and then
1002 Sex Street,
and then cut to airplane. You will never see me again. Why would you think you would ever see me again?
Yeah.
Great sunglasses era in this at this time in Italy. Great car era. Just all looking very slick to me, to my 80s mind.
So Peter Neal has landed. He is at a lounge, briefly doing a little book-like interview event. There is a woman there, and guess what, folks? The woke pseudo-journalists are at it again. There's a young woman there. She is, at the very least, she's queer. I don't know if she's lesbian or bisexual.
Yeah.
I guess later events strongly suggest she's
lesbian.
Yes. But this is 1982. That could be asserted of anyone who does not want to have sex with Peter Neal, for example. So he's like talking. We get the Neal method for writing for any of you aspiring writers out there who are wondering, how should I space this out? Peter Neal makes it clear, when I'm writing a book, the first takes me about a month to get my notes down, then 3 months to write the book, and then 2 months for editing and proofing and stuff like that. So that's the Neal method. You're looking at about 6 months per book.
Yep.
A month of prep, 3 months write, 2 months clean it up. And guess what? You've just turned out a bestseller in 6 months. The Neal method.
Yeah.
But then he's interrupted by this lady journalist who's like, how do you respond to allegations that your book is sexist and misogynist and you hate women because of all these women being murdered? Now, people watching this who are canny might suspect that Argento is attempting to place a lot of the criticisms that have been directed at him on the shoulders of Peter Neal.
Yeah.
Something that makes the overarching plot of this movie very curious.
I agree.
If you're willing to, I think you could view it as a little more than a self-indictment if that's what he's going for here.
Yeah.
Because Peter Neal, I mean, in fairness, let's say he has a conflicted relationship with women.
He loves women. And he does say, like, well, do I need to say that I supported the Equal Rights Amendment? And it's like, wow, what a man. But
that's
she's also
very good. I like his glad handing, like, what do you mean? I'm a feminist ally sort of spiel here.
And then she's like, well, I'm talking about your work. It's like, I don't care about you as a person. And it's, it does predate that being the standard of the conversation, that it's like, let's not discuss the concept of whether this person is a racist and a sexist. Like, that is irrelevant and silly. Let's just talk about the thing. What'd you do? Was this thing an example of good behavior or bad behavior? Sexism, not sexism.
Yeah, and I think, you could say that this is a little bit glib in the scope of what his work has been, the director's.
Yeah.
And certainly where this goes. But I think the fact that he clearly puts himself in this guy's position and then does not back off making every critique you could make of him on this front ultimately be true, I think it's certainly more interesting than if it turned out that he was entirely on the level about what he's saying here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, it's then suggested that he's met this woman before when she was coming up. And he's like, why are you being so mean to me? Yeah.
Yeah. And then he kind of, after the interview's over, is like, oh, you're getting tough. And she's like, yeah, I'm trying. Like, it is, the morning Sam, morning Ralph. I am officially opposed to this, but we can still get along. And then
we can still knock back a little whiskey.
Yeah.
In this scene, I should mention, there's an odd-looking fellow in the room, leaning against the wall. We do not yet know his name, but Peter Neal looks at him, and he looks back, and there's clearly, even at this point, a subtle moment of recognition that will become more significant later. These two men have never met and don't know each other, but this is sort of like we've mentioned on this show before. You and I have watched a bit of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in our day. And on that show, they have the phrase about how stand users are drawn to one another, whether or not they know each other. That's a little bit of what's happening here. Yeah. It's like, oh, who's this handsome devil? I wonder what's going on in that head. Yeah. Yes, he fucks off, basically. He goes to his nice, not too nice hotel room. Not as nice as I would want to be if I was as hot shit as Peter Neal seems to be.
Yeah. Certainly the amount that is made of like, oh, he's so fussy and he wants this, he wants that. And he's, got a car that's driving ahead of him, things of this nature. You'd think it would be a little nicer, but I don't think they had the budget for a nicer one. They didn't have the budget for John Saxon's hairpiece. Enter the Dragon had that budget.
They did have a budget for. They had a budget for a very nice hat. I really like. First of all, it's so nice to see John Saxon here. It's also nice to see him playing a guy who's having a good time. He often is. He would play heavies. He would play angry guys. No, he is Peter Neal's agent. He's having a great time. He's very happy to be in Rome. His career's going great. The book's a hit, and he has a new hat. Look, he's got a new hat. I say of John Saxon.
Yes,
and he puts it on, and then they have a conversation. He puts the hat on. He's like, "You like my hat?" And Peter Neal's like, "Yeah, but like, does it fit?" And he's like, "Yeah, look." And then he's like, "But won't it fall off? Like if you make a quick move?" And John Saxon's like, "No, look." And he does like a little head bob and it stays on. And I'm like, every time I see a guy wearing a hat in a movie, I think that. Silently, I'm like, I bet that hat would fall off the actor if he had to do too much action. Famously in Indiana Jones, the hat was like adhesed to his head to make it not fly off in a lot of these action scenes. But I've never seen a movie raise that question before. I've never seen a movie that's like, hey, will this hat stay on your head if you have to do a quick move, as you might in an action or horror movie? And John Saxon demonstrates, no, this hat will stay on.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Don't worry about it. There are 2 scenes about the hat, and then that is all. I really was like, this is one of those things, one of those confounding things. But again, does feel dreamlike, where it's just like, yeah, he had this hat, and he was just so proud of it. So we also have now the lady. I believe it's the lady that stole from the bookstore.
Yes,
a lot of these ladies, not to sound anti-Italian, but a lot of these ladies look very similar. And so I, by the end, was like, am I supposed to be surprised that this lady is alive, or has she not been on the screen yet?
By the end of the movie, you should be surprised if there is more than one woman left alive. Only one woman you've seen should still be surviving. And that should, frankly, be an accident. So, yes, the woman, she's walking home and is startled by an
average Italian man. Just a totally average Italian man who comes jumping out.
Man covered in filth who jumps out of an alley, and he's just like, I'm gonna.
Yeah, he's just this much less genteel than the average Italian man, and I will say a fair chalk lower in terms of his fashion sense, but even his rags look a little bit affected. Like, I think he's kind of going for a thing. It's just not totally working.
Yeah. So he's advancing on her. She kicks him in the crotch. Yeah. He goes down like George C. Scott getting hit with the football. Oh, my groin!
Ah, my groin!
He falls to the ground. He like falls into some trash cans or something too. It's a bad scene for him.
Yeah.
And then she runs off. The gate to her apartment building is nearby, and she gets to it, but she's fumbling with the keys, can't find the right key. Then you get a shot of him slowly getting up, but he's still a long ways away, but then he starts hustling towards her, cursing at her.
Yeah.
And this is something that is repeated later with a non-human assailant. But something I do really like in this is the emphasis on, like, oh, you've basically gotten away, but, like, this person could close this distance if you're not really on your shit.
Yeah.
And, like, the long angle shots where it's like, no, you're going to watch this person walk down this other person, as the case may be.
Uh-huh.
So he almost gets there to accost her further, but she just in the nick of time opens her gate, then slams it on his hand.
Yeah, we get a close-up of the hand, and you think, oh, this is going to be a thing later. No, he just does get his fingers slammed.
He gets his fingers slammed. He continues yelling at her, calling her all manner of names. Mm-hmm. I couldn't pick out any. I'm sure he calls her a bitch, right? That must happen.
Probably.
I'm sure they are misogynist things he's saying, whether in English or Italian, due to the fundamentally misogynist nature of his approach to her, which you have, in a racist manner, insinuated as how Italians are. I've never done that to someone, but I'm only half.
Exactly. You're raised in America.
I'm only half, so I just think it.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah. He comes out from behind just some very fake looking like boards. Like there's boards and like caution tape. Like I guess it's a construction zone, but it's just it's really weird because he could just be in the bushes or something. I don't know why we need this, but it looks brand spanking new and totally false. And he pops out of there. But as you might suspect, he is not the real threat here. Obviously, he is a real threat. They're not underselling what he could be. But then she gets into her house and suddenly it's like all is well. She sees her neighbor.
Yeah, all is well. I go into my bathroom. I come out 5 seconds later. 5 seconds off camera in the bathroom. I come out. I am already erotically pantsless.
Yes.
I'm now just wearing the overshirt. She sees her neighbor. And she also is briefly menaced by the same Italian bum who is like on the other side of the gate outside the window snarling at her.
Yeah.
But then as she is distracted with him, she is grabbed from behind by an unseen assailant who does some pretty unpleasant stuff to her. He stabs her up in the neck around the jugular with a switchblade.
I think it's a straight razor still.
And is it a straight razor still?
Yeah.
But the point is he doesn't slash. He sticks it up there and holds it there.
Yeah.
And this is something, Argento does similar things in opera, which I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. One of his signatures, I think, for slasher violence is like, oh, I have dealt you a fatal wound, but it will not be imminently fatal because I am refusing to remove the thing.
Uh-huh.
So it is going to drag on in a more visually and conceptually grotesque way.
Yeah.
He doesn't keep that up for too long though, because he does get down to slashing her neck, which is this guy's thing. He's big into slashing necks.
But first he makes her eat the book, right?
That's right. He tears out some pages of the Tenebrae book that she had. Is this his book or hers?
I don't know.
If it's hers, that means was the guy like, well, if you're gonna fuck me later, you also get the book.
You can have the book. Steal. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine he did that.
Yeah. But he, so he rips out some pages of Tenebrae, stuffs them in her mouth, slits her throat. She is discovered dead, covered in blood, mangled, with Tenebrae pages shoved in her mouth, which means the first person we need to talk to is the author of Tenebrae, who happens to be in town. Yeah. When they go to Peter Neal's hotel room, he's like, let me ask you something. If someone gets shot with a Smith & Wesson, do you go interview the president of Smith & Wesson first?
Yeah.
Which I think is not a bad point. It's a little weird that this is the first stop, seemingly, they're making.
Yes.
Is like, we want to suss out the author of this book. How many copies of this book exist?
Yeah.
I guess the fact that it happened right when he arrived in town... But still, this does not pass any kind of fair, probable cause, what they're doing here.
No, and it's it is related to the sorts of things that happen in the books, because the books, it is implied, are basically like Argento's movies. So,
yeah.
So there is some reason, but they're just already in his apartment, his hotel when he comes in. I think it's an apartment that's being rented, whatever. And the cops are already in there, and they're just like, hey, do you know this woman that was killed? And he's like, I don't know her. In this way, that's like, I don't know. Again, if you're trying to make a real seeming movie, you can't have this sort of dialogue. It's driving me crazy. You have to have who is she? What do you mean? I don't know. Is she Italian? Is there any reason I would know her? It's just like, no, I don't know her. And then they're like, sorry, the door was open, so we went in. It was open, right? And the other cop's like, yes, it was open. No, she would say that. And then he's like, and you got this note on the ground. Here's a note for you. And he opens it, and it's clearly from the killer with cutout letters that says something about. It's one of the lines from the book saying like, there was nothing left to stop him or something. And And the cop has said that he started the new book. He's read all his books, but he's just started Tenebrae. And he says, that's from the book. Like, before the guy's even read it. So did they, like, steam it open? The whole thing feels like the cops are like, we have done this a million times. We've been in this movie before.
They're not good cops. No one can mistake these for competent law enforcement officers. They make a lot of mistakes along the way. They seem... at some points too preoccupied with involving Peter Neal in every phase of this investigation, and then maybe at some junctures they're not involving him enough. Who's to say?
I think that's fair.
Yes. Also, we should mention that his duffel bag is now stuffed full of bloody clothes that he did not pack there. And he shows this to the cops. He's like, oh, this might interest you. It's like, this might interest you? You're just like, look at these mysterious bloody clothes in my bag. I realize you're suspicious I may have murdered this woman. Look at all this blood. I guess you could say this makes him seem more, open, and this is just Columbo shit. It's like,
right.
Oh, I can, maybe this will help you, Lieutenant. These couldn't possibly be mine, but here you go.
Because I found them. Yeah, it does. It was surprising because he comes in, he's already seen that the clothes are cut up and that this watch that he got for his assistant is broken. And he's like, who could have done this? And then they come in with the bag, and you think the cops are going to look at it. And then there's a moment where his helper, the agent's little buddy, who's a younger guy who by the end sounded a lot like the main ape in Rare Blue Apes, the one that walks around like this. And
yeah, I know what he
what's
looks
his name?
like.
What's his name?
The assistant in this is named Gianni, who is
Johnny. He comes and gets the bag. And so in a moment, you're like, oh, great. Because he picked up the bag, then the cops aren't going to investigate it, and they won't think that our hero, Paul Neal, did it.
Peter
McNichol.
He was the best-selling author in Italy that year, and you don't even remember his fucking name.
Mary Neal. And so he he calls it back in. So it's a weird moment of like, oh, he got away with it. Oh, no, this looks better, actually, to reveal this right away. Yeah. And then he gets a call, and it's a voice on the line, which I was convinced was a lady. And that voice is saying, you know, I did it. I did that thing you wanted me to do, and it's all good, that thing. And then he has the cop pick up.
About?
He has the cop pick up the other end. And it seems like the voice must be coming from the phone booth outside. So then the cop pulls out his gun first thing, then starts running down the stairs.
Yeah.
Later, his partner, also a cop, but a lady, comes down, and they both have their guns out, and they're both just like looking at each other, pointing the guns at each other. It's
this scene where he's looking down at the phone booth. This is something else I like in Argento movies. He frequently will place like, oh, the solution to everyone's problems, the mystery at the heart of this. Who is that in the phone booth? It's like this, playing on this thing of like, oh, the answer I seek is right there. It could not be closer to me, but there's no practical way for me to get there before it'll be gone. It's like, if I either had an extra minute, or I had a pair of binoculars, or the phone booth was in a different position, but it isn't, so my white whale will swim away and I'll never see it again. This is a thing that, for whatever reason, there's movies where that sort of thing can frustrate me, but I feel like Argento is good at framing that in ways where it doesn't feel contrived, I guess.
Right.
It feels more like, no, this is simply the reality. You're up in this building, you're not going to be able to see who's in the phone booth, and these Keystone cops are not going to get down there and find out who it is.
No, you'd have to be Batman or something to get, because it's like, oh, it's 500 feet away. Yeah, but it's down diagonally, like away from you. There's no way to do it. Yes, they offer Peter Neal a drink, and he says just water, and then his assistant says, oh, I would offer you something stronger, but I guess you don't drink on duty. And the Italian cop is like, I only drink on duty. I'll have scotch and soda, please. And he's like, oh, good scotch. It's like another, like, here's just a weird moment we threw in. There is frequently a mystery element to these movies that I don't think matters. Like, I never watch them and I'm like, oh, who done it? Usually it's fairly clear, or if it's not clear, it's because it couldn't matter any less. But so there's just enough weird moments like that you can't say like, oh, he did this weird thing, and so then that must be who it was. It's like, no, we're just throwing in a bunch of weird crap so that you can't keep it straight. Is it this guy bicycling behind his car, or is it this guy that only drinks on duty?
Yeah. So we now cut over. We're heading to our next murder victims here, which is there's the queer young journalist from earlier. She is at a lounge. In this lounge, briefly, we see that same odd-looking fellow from the original, from the last interview scene that had his little moment with Peter Neal. He's there. We also see, I don't remember how clearly it's explained, but we see that she's got her girlfriend, her partner there with her. Her lover, at the very least.
Yes, her roommate / lover.
Yes. Her roommate, however, is not a lesbian, because she has her eyes on a man who is playing a mousetrap arcade cabinet. He's not even facing the camera. He's not looking at her. She goes up and sidles up next to him, and then goes back, and she's like, "Look, I'm bringing him home tonight." And then the journalist lady's like, "Ugh, God." She's like really upset at this idea. She's like, "Look, I'm not like you. I want a good man to give it to me good." And I think this arcade gamer is just the ticket.
I love when this happens, when I'm at the arcade and some absurdly attractive. I mean, she's a sex worker, but she still is there. That's where she's like trawling for company. Even that has never happened to me at an arcade. I have ever picked up somebody at an arcade, but it wasn't because I was just playing Mousetrap too good. It's because I had to be charming.
Well, he then, when she's like, "Look, we're leaving," you get a shot of the guy at the arcade game just does like a little clasp, like handshake with the guy playing the opposite arcade game, a different game. This is just like a congrats on the sex thing. Because the other guy's like, I wish some hot woman would whisk me away from this arcade cabinet, but it doesn't feel like it's going to happen too soon.
Do you think it's Mousetrap like the board game?
Mousetrap, 1981, a maze-based video game developed by Exidy and released in arcades in 1981. It is similar to Pac-Man, with the main character replaced by a mouse, the dots replaced with cheese, the ghosts with cats, and the Energizer pellets with bones.
So by similar to, you mean a ripoff of?
After collecting a bone, pressing a button briefly turns the mouse into a dog, which can then chase down the cats.
Okay.
So yes, it is an homage. It's an homage. They head back.
This is how Billy Mitchell met his wife?
Yeah. I think every step of this is how Billy Mitchell met his wife. No. They go back to their very nice house. No one in Italy in this time lives in anything less than like a multi-million-dollar villa. And we come in on the journalist in her like studio. She comes home. Her partner is at the top of a stairway, topless, just like clearly having just been ravished by this guy. And the woman's disgusted. She's like, "Ugh, I can't believe you did that. You're disgusting." And then finally, her partner's like, "Look, you want me to say it? He fucked me better than you ever could. He made you look pathetic. He was incredible."
And that was rude.
And she storms off to her office because she knows it's true.
She does. Earlier, she says, like, "Oh, just because this is what you do doesn't mean you have to rub my face in it." She's like, "Not your face." And then when she's up there, she's topless. She's mostly like got one boob out, like the Madonna. And almost throughout this whole sequence, is it a thing, or is it just that she's like, "I like this one better. Can I just have this one out?" Hard to say, but she says, "I've drunk too much. I'm going to throw up," which feels relatable. Where it's like, I'm going to be a little fancy while I'm absurdly drunk and just saying sloppy stuff. And then she turns up the soundtrack as loud as she can, and we all
she
rocking out.
She goes back to her room, and the Tenebrae theme is playing on her turntable. And this is very exciting. Love stuff like this. It's blasting. The woman downstairs is like, "Turn it down." She does not like the soundtrack to Tenebrae.
Turn it down!
But then as this is bumping, we get a POV shot peering in on the journalist from outside the window. This is, I presume, obviously the giallo genre on the whole is. This sequence in particular as he's like looking in through the window, and then the camera starts moving up and over the house and down the other side. Do you take this to mean that the killer is climbing around the house?
Maybe. I think it's just supposed to be a generally threatening thing. Like, maybe that's what's happening, maybe not. I think because we're not getting hands, it's supposed to be a little more interpretive.
Yeah.
And also, we just want to explore this this delightful brutalist house. And I wrote delightful brutalism, like this movie. It's brutal but delightful.
It's a bit brutal, but I think it is delightful. It wasn't delightful when I saw it when I was 9, but I found it quite a good time this time. This again, when this music starts in again, I'm like, yes, my hands back in the air. I'm feeling it. I'm vibing. My whole body's vibrating. Even though I know this means these women will soon be dead. This shot where he's peering in through the window, he doesn't enter immediately. But when I saw this, I thought, I wonder if this is where he got the idea for the opening shot, De Palma in Blowout. The movie starts with a fake out POV style thing where he's like in the bushes and then looking through the window. But he ultimately goes right in. But that is clearly a giallo thing De Palma's pulling from there. Yeah. I think that might be my favorite part of Blowout, honestly. That I know people really like that movie. I thought it sort of was pretty good, and then it sputters out. I feel like the whole John Lithgow thing is like, this is kind of limp compared to what I thought was going on here.
Yep.
So yes, he invades the house. He kills both of these women. Not before she turns down the volume on the Tenebrae soundtrack and then switches it off, just to make it clear this was, in fact, in the house. This is what they were listening to. Do you think if you had just gotten your brains fucked out, you're so drunk you feel like you might throw up, do you put this song on? Is this a good tone setter?
Yes.
So you want to be listening to this as you're puking, knowing you just got a great nut. Yeah.
I hope I'm not going to puke, but if I'm like so drunk that I'm like, oh man, I'm spinning, this is a strong maybe. Certainly if I have this soundtrack out, I might be like, hell yes, this is great. Though it might be like the bit in what is it? Pure Romance?
Modern Romance.
Modern Romance, thank you. Where he puts on the record and he's like,
I love my albums. I love them. Here's an album. God. Music is the doctor of the soul.
yeah. He's like, I don't want to listen to this, 10 seconds into it. But it reminds me, there was a Spotify playlist somebody was having people add to, and it was songs I got a DUI to. I think this one would definitely qualify. Don't drink and drive.
Yes, please do not do that. So they're both killed horribly. In much the same style with razors.
Sick transit lesbia.
Yes, he leaves a note saying sick transit lesbia, which obviously made me think of when we played Overwatch, because Soldier 76 says sick transit Gloria all the time.
Right,
I didn't know what it meant. I've now learned that sick transit lesbia.
Sic transit gloria lesbi. So passes the glory of Lesbos.
It's tremendous. I was astonished because I'm like, sick transit Gloria. Wait, what was that last one? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yep. Obviously, whoever is doing these murders has a bit of a literary flair to him. Mm-hmm. We get a little more stuff with Bulmer. Bulmer is John Saxon's character's name, the agent. Peter Neal is prepping for a TV
Vegeta's
interview. Wife. What? Yeah. Vegeta's wife when she's on Long Island. Hey, Bulmer. He's prepping for a TV interview. There's one part where a person starts wheeling like a production cart away from John Saxon. He's like, hey, that's my hat. Because he put his hat on the cart. That is the second and final reference to the hat.
Yeah, puts the hat on a TV, kind of looks at it, and then they start carting it away. Hey, it's my hat. And then,
hey, that's my hat.
I guess it's just
so
to
he's
distract you from when our hero is talking to the interviewer. That's like, isn't your book just about perversion, human perversion?
Isn't your book about how we need a cleansing rain to wash the perverts and the scum off our streets? Yes, he is now being interviewed by the weird guy that he locks eyes with in that first scene, who we are introduced to. His name is Cristiano Berti. And he's doing a pre-interview first. And in the pre-interview, he is like, he says, Tenebrae is about human perversion and its effects on society. I'd like to see how you see the effect of deviant behavior on human society. And Peter Neal is like, well, I mean, the guy in the book, is insane. He's not like, you're not supposed to think he's a cool guy who has the right idea about what he's doing.
But then he's like, there's the victims. One of them's gay. Is that what you mean? Like, but he's just like a dude, basically.
Well, yeah. No, Bertie is like, but all the people he kills are deviants. And then Peter Neal's like, well, I mean, one of them's gay, but that's not a problem. I wouldn't think I'd call someone a deviant for that. And then Bertie says, well, in some respects, I myself am a deviant. I was raised Catholic, yet I support abortion, and I support...
and divorce.
And it's like, okay, I'm glad we're emphasizing that you are clearly a psychopath, but also a delicatessen Catholic. You pick and choose what you want out of there. That's a nice touch. We do get at this point that Peter Neal was raised Catholic, which is the second time we have an odd moment of synchronicity between these two characters. Even though Neil is pretty weirded out here. He's like this. He says like, I thought this is like a daytime TV interview we're doing for my book. Do you want to like get into the sins of the perverts? Is that how you want to play this? And he's like, I just love your book. I just really want to get into it. So then they go and do the real interview, and you get a little bit of the real TV interview, and it's like, no, I do want to do this. I'm going to be just this weird live on the air, too. This is, I like all this stuff. I like the first introduction of Bertie as a named character, and I like the white-knuckled awkwardness of like, oh no, the guy who's interviewing me is like a misogynist zealot, like, and he thinks that it's good that these people in my book died. I think this is well played, and he does a good job making it like reflecting someone who's like, okay, you're interviewing me, you're the TV, I can't like tell you you're a fucking lunatic, but can we just steer this more normal?
And then who is it? The policewoman that is like, I got his autograph.
Yes, it is. Yeah, like, this is great.
Who?
I got his autograph.
Who's?
Yves Montand.
She's like, Yves Montand.
What is Yves Montand doing at this TV station in Italy?
He's getting interviewed for something else, or something he's been working on. I was very excited for you that was the poll. And then there's we also,
as he sings.
There's also the there's a morgue scene, which isn't really necessary, but that I noted only because it was a carpeted morgue, the rare carpeted morgue. please don't carpet your morgue. So then our hero Peter is talking to his assistant Anne, and he says, because there's, he gets told there's been another double murder, and he's like, I wish I'd never written that book. And she says, don't say that. I think he should wish that.
A million people should die for this work. Do you have any idea how good Tenebrae is?
For this pulp novel that sounds like just like all of your other ones? You're like, but this one killed some people. You're like, yeah, I still think it was worth it. You've been on #1 in Italy for 12 weeks.
Yeah. Could you have been #1 if these murders weren't happening? Who's to say? I flagged that too. I like that. So there is a young woman who briefly comes up. She is the daughter of the hotel manager. She comes up to do some maintenance stuff. We see that she is out with a man, but gets ditched off the back of a motorcycle. At night. They've had some kind of argument. It's not clear what it is, but the point is Like Laura Palmer and James Hurley. She gets off the motorcycle and he just rides away. No care for what might happen to her.
Unlike that, she gets pursued by a dog that can climb fences.
I love this. I love this dog stuff so much. I love it. I love it because, first of all, the dog is just like, this dog wants to kill her.
Yeah.
This is like, she has sometimes you see a dog and the dog barks at, it likes most people, but it hates you. And
right.
then, people will be like, well, you must be evil, and the dog knows. No, sometimes a dog, it's just not a good fit. Maybe there's something about my smell that the dog associates with something it wants to kill. That's how dogs operate a lot of times. But again, like this is sort of the next beat of the very normal Italian man who accosts the woman towards the start of the movie, as you called him.
Yes, the average Italian.
This is the second beat like this. We're like, oh, this isn't the killer. Obviously, the black-gloved dismemberer and torturer in this film is not a dog, but the dog barks and jumps up and menaces her, and she swats at it with a board because it's behind a tall fence. Mm-hmm. And then she starts walking away. She's terrified of it, and it's clearly ferocious. But then when she's 2 blocks down the street, she looks back and sees the dog successfully vaults itself up and over like a 20-foot fence. This is a very high fence.
Yeah,
but
it's a chain link fence,
off.
and it climbs it. There's a moment where, when she first sees it, that it starts to climb it, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize a dog could climb a fence that well. And I thought, end of dog scene. This is just a quick moment. And then it successfully climbs the fence, and I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. Do they realize how crazy it is? And then they're like, this dog climbs fences. This is now, it wants to kill her, yes, but also she's kind of leading it down into the sausage factory or something as far as this dog's concerned, because she just keeps climbing one fence after another. The dog's like, you don't know how much I love this. I am desperate to climb a fence.
Yeah.
Very shocking.
I like this. I like, again, the turn from, oh, I'm scared, but it's just a dog. I'm fine. I'm just going to leave. To, oh no, the dog hopped the fence, and now my life is in danger because I can't outrun this dog. Yeah. I like the very subtle shift and playing with, how thin the difference is between this is an emergency and I don't have to really pay attention to this. I think much like the thing where the guy starts advancing on her when she's trying to get through her gate, the dog is really far away when she sees that he's hopped the fence. And it's just the next 2 minutes of the dog slowly gaining ground on her.
Yeah, because the dog is faster. And it is, it kind of reminds you that it's well, this is all very well that there is a serial killer out there, but you could also just be killed by whatever. It's a dangerous world. And it, again, feels very, very correct for nightmare logic, that it's this dog, climbed a fence, and then it just kept climbing fence. I climbed over a fence, and it climbed that fence. That all feels very deeply true, even as it's sort of, patently absurd.
Climbing the second fence is a bit of a desperate act when it's much smaller than the fence it is already vaulted to get to you.
Yeah.
But, we have also seen concurrent to this that the killer is afoot again. We see that he has some sort of basement lair where he's, hanging up photos of his victims. He leaves the lair to go out on the prowl again, but just stupidly leaves his key hanging in the door. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I'm like, who is this guy? Our former roommate, Sarah?
Oh, yeah.
That happened more than once. But no. This, he then goes, he's out where the sex workers congregate. He has files on these women, and he's picked out the one he's going to try to murder that night. But then when he gets out of the car, he just realizes that he doesn't have his keys on him, and he's like, well, the night's ruined. I have to go back and get my keys. I'll be thinking, did I leave the stove on? I'm not fit to murder now. I'm too distracted.
Yeah. Shit, my keys. God. You'd think you'd maybe want to not have those on you, on your person at the time of the murder, but...
Yeah, but so he starts to head back. Now, the woman who, again, hops a fence, the dog keeps coming. The dog catches her twice, mauls her a bit, before she, kicks it or hits it, knocks it off, and keeps running. Frankly, I'm not saying the dog isn't scary or dangerous, because it cuts her up each time it gets to her, but given that you are able to swat it away, like, you gotta kill the dog. You have to accept, like, if I can hit this dog and knock it away, and it's not so powerful that it's gonna, like, rip my neck out, like the dog in Suspiria does.
Right.
And that is a possessed dog. That is an evil dog.
That is an
evil
dog.
That dog knew where the kill shot was on the neck. This dog is just a normal dog who's had a rough day. You gotta be like, okay, I do, like, have to, like, I don't know, punch or kick this dog till it's dead. I'm not someone who advocates for cruelty to animals. This dog needs to be killed.
That's not the situation.
My position. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's a moment where she sees this nice swimming pool, and there's like these pylons in the swimming pool, and you think, oh, she's gonna jump on those, and that'll like slow the dog down, or at least I thought that. In my Mario-addled mind, I was like, surely this would slow the dog down. He's got to swim to it.
She can get to it if she does the triple jump.
Exactly. Then you can whack at it while it's climbing, and she just kind of looks at it and then keeps going for something else. She is in the backyard of this place and just starts calling for help without like knocking on doors or anything. It's just like, is the yard gonna help? But she finds the door with the key in it, so you know she's in the lair.
Yes, she is in the lair. I love the layout and aesthetic of this lair. Not so much the basement part of it, but like when you see more of the house, like it all has a cursed and unsettling like geometry to it that I really like. So she gets attacked by the dog again, then manages to get inside this metal door. She closes it behind her. And now she is descending into the belly of not the dog, but a very different beast. She is heading down into the depths of the killer's basement lair, as I am now doing.
The dog's outside that window.
I know.
Ma'am, don't give that dog your baby.
Don't worry, I've told the dog to be very still. Don't move a muscle, don't make a sound. The same rules I enforce on everyone when they are in my shot. The dog is playing ball with me. I guess she just had the wrong energy. So, the Indiana Jones outfit is a little bit less coherent now that I'm in the lair from Tenebrae. So, she comes down here. The dog is still barking at the door, and then it comes down to this window that I'm sitting next to and is barking and jumping around there. At the point, like, you're down here, the dog surely can't smell you anymore through this steel door. It's just like, no, I know you're in there and I want to kill you. There's never been a more aggro movie dog than this dog.
No, yeah. I don't think Cujo really even rates compared to this dog for just I think Cujo had like grudges against people, right? It wasn't just like, anyone I saw that walked by.
Yeah. But down here, she sees the newspaper clippings about the murders. She sees the photos of the murdered women. And she's like, well, I haven't been too privy to the A-plot of this movie, but I can put two and two together. I think this is the home of a murderer, of a serial killer of women. And what am I if not a young, attractive woman? I should really be on my guard around here. She grabs some of the articles and some of the photos, presumably to use as evidence, and stuffs them loosely in her pockets. They're just bulging, bursting out of the pockets of her dress.
Yeah. Well, at least her skirt has pockets.
Sure,
I just wrote down skirt pocket discourse for this section. But she folds it up and sticks it in there. Then she goes upstairs, and then she sees someone. Okay, all you know about this house, I guess you know there's a dog outside.
I want to, before we get to her going, she goes up back towards the metal door, and hears the dog barking still there.
Right.
I'm sorry, you're in the home of a person who brutally murders women.
Yeah.
Forget about the dog. The dog doesn't matter anymore. The dog's not the big issue anymore. This is like, as we often talk about, well, I can't use my best relief pitcher now. What about Game 7?
Right.
You're in the Game 7 of your lifetime right now. Whatever is, because she then comes back down the stairs and goes through a different door that leads into the main house. You don't know. You have no way of knowing if this person is here. You don't know that he was gone at any rate.
Right.
You need to... This is a door to outside. You get outside and you leave, and, the dog bit me a few more times, whatever. But no, she decides to go further, deeper into the house.
Yeah.
And comes out in his palatial living room.
Yeah.
And the guy shows up. He's not visible. A hooded figure shows up, swathed in shadow. She gets on the phone, but then the lights go out. And then she turns and she's like, "Oh no, please don't do anything to me. You're an okay guy, right?" But there is this thing of like, who is it? Yeah.
Yeah, but she isn't like, oh, please don't be the murderer. She's like, hey, sorry I'm in your house. There's a dog after me, and then I found some stuff. And then she's like, wait, are you a bad guy? Like, what? You saw the basement. Even if you don't think he killed anybody, he's certainly a bad guy. Like, even if it's like he just collected crime scene photos, though they were... When I first saw them, I thought that's what they were. When they were hanging them up, I thought we were in the police lab or whatever. And I was like, this is a very dramatic shot for a crime scene photo, but it's the killer. And yes, she then is pursued by the killer. She runs through the yard, throwing the evidence at him in a way that, again, feels, let's say, nightmarish and not just like a bad call that doesn't make any sense. And then she tries to climb one last fence. But the killer is...
She doesn't have what the dog has. She's too heavy. The board, it's because his fence isn't well constructed. The board just falls backwards and she falls flat on her ass.
It did feel like Edgar Wright's whole thing. That has to be about this collection of fence issues. And then she's killed in that yard. Okay. Yes. Then the police show up later. I mean, first there's somebody mowing the lawn and they find the body. The police show up and do not, I guess, interview the person whose yard is that she is found dead in.
They later say where she was found. We're to believe that the body was moved somewhere or it was discovered by the lawn mowing person. It was not discovered in his yard. They do say that.
Okay.
Yeah. He ditched the body somewhere else.
It's very nearby, and the evidence is still all around her. The lawnmower comes up on the evidence.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
then that information is then used by Peter Neal to sort of triangulate that he thinks maybe it was that incredibly deranged interviewer who talked about my book on the TV. The guy who's more into my book than anyone I've ever met, who lives right near where the body was found.
Yeah, and again, the cops don't think of this. Also, at this point, and then they're like, there's a note that says something like, all right, now next will be the progenitor or whatever, the one that started all this. That's who's going to be next. And he's like, it's going to be me. And the cop's like, yes, it is, as if I have lived through this before. I wrote, maybe leave Rome, and that's not even discussed at this point in the movie. We need like 2 more deaths before we can even discuss. Then maybe you don't have to be here on this book tour right now, because the killer's not going to follow you around the world.
Someone clearly doesn't understand how quickly a book can lose heat if the author is not touring the country that it's been released in.
I think that, there's no such thing as bad publicity. I think this thing has all the heat it can take because there have been a series of murders related to the book.
But if the author got murdered, think of how many more units they'd move.
That's true. I was kind of hoping that that's what the genesis of all of this was that it was John Saxon. And he was
it's a publicity stunt too.
Yeah. I had a brief hope for that.
Yeah. But so Peter Neal is like, oh, maybe it was that violent misogynist who interviewed me about my book and was talking about how it was about how we need to kill all the perverts.
Yes, the human perverts.
Keeps leaving notes about how he has to kill all the perverts. And, every time I was in a room with this guy, we seemed oddly drawn to one another. Maybe it's that guy.
Yeah.
So he recruits his friend, whose name I said earlier, Gianni. He recruits his young friend and occasional driver, Gianni, to go to Bertie's home to check it out. And when they get there, it is clear, okay, it is Bertie, because this is the same house that the woman was killed in.
Yeah, we know.
And yeah, they sneak in. Gianni goes up towards the windows, the big windows. You look at this, you're like, he works as like a TV interviewer. I mean, this house is fucking nice. This is a very nice house. And it does leave me to wonder, well, how did somebody this crazy get this TV interviewer job? And then I stop and think, what am I talking about?
Exactly. Yeah, look at every TV interviewer.
it's almost as though psychopaths are well equipped to navigate the halls of power.
Yeah, certainly the halls of entertainment. There is a moment
Yeah.
earlier where there's a news anchor that's talking about the murders and then like makes a joke about it. I forget what the joke was, but he's like, this is, we're on the lookout for whatever. And
Yeah.
I
That's
was
too
like,
much, man.
yeah, I was like, this, not a bad joke, but a bad time for a joke when you're doing your serious news piece on murders. Like, oh, another
Yes.
one. Waka waka.
Yeah.
So yes, they're watching from outside. Peter is like, or Johnny is like, oh, it's so boring. And Peter's like, yes, well, investigating is boring. You just have to cut out the boring parts, and then you've got a bestseller on your hands. By the end of this movie, I thought there was a solid 15 minutes that could have been cut out, and I was like, hear your own advice, Dario. All you have to do is cut out this boring stuff.
I like all of it. I just enjoy being in this movie's world. Like it could be half an hour longer, and
I don't know.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
Sure, I'd watch it.
Generally speaking, you're the one who's always yelling at me about thinking movies are too long.
I know, but yeah, I don't think it's inherently too long. I don't think an hour and 40 minutes is too long. I just think this movie is too long. Though we do get a weird moment where we see the not actually going to be at all a pivotal sculpture. Like they leave the hotel room, and then the camera just like trucks over to the left, and this like one of Dario Argento's favorite things is pointy looking sculptures, and this pointy sculpture that's in there gets like a sinister glint, and then we cut to the next thing. I was like, this is not your most like organically arrived at one of these moments, but I like that you do it. It is fun.
Yeah.
I do like it that you're like, anything could cut you. And it does come up kind of.
Yeah, kind of. So Gianni goes to look through these big windows to the inside of the house. He splits up from Peter. Gianni then sees Bertie in his living room, but then the lights abruptly turn off, and Bertie turns looking startled and clearly sees someone, but this person is obstructed. You can't see who it is. And then Bertie says something in a classic Argento, like, demonic whisper. Whenever people whisper in Argento movies, they often sound not the gender of the person it actually is. That's one of his big tricks. The women all sound like men. The men all sound like women. And it's always like, I did it. I killed them all, and now I'm going to kill you.
Yes, it was me. I killed them.
Like, it's all that kind of shit. And Bertie says... you, as the viewer, I heard it the first time. I didn't need to be reminded. He says, I killed them. I killed them all. And then, from some unseen figure off screen, he is struck in the head with an enormous axe. Bertie is dead. He has been killed. Split into the brain with an axe. And he falls to the ground dead. Gianni takes off running, finds Peter, who is next to a tree with bleeding from the head. He is splayed out, bleeding from the head. There's a bloody rock next to him. He's like, someone hit him with this rock, presumably.
Got bonked.
Yes, got bonked. Do you think, look, we've been dancing around it, but something might be up with Peter Neal. This is the point at which I think the movie does not do from here on out a very good job concealing that something is awry with our hero, Peter. I think it gets pretty obvious pretty quickly. And I think we may as well, to discuss the final portions of this movie, come right out and say that he is not the killer, but he is a killer.
Yeah, he is not killed to this point in the movie. We did not talk about the dream sequence that, that ends up being like a memory sequence, but is surely a little bit hyper realized, and then a follow up to it that comes way late in the movie to the point where you'd forgotten about this weird dream sequence.
Yes, the dream sequence earlier is a group of there's a girl and like 4 guys, seemingly like teenagers probably, who are on a beach. And the girl seems to be entreating the boys to fuck her, I guess. There's a seduction happening here, or some kind of like, can everyone come over here and admire me?
Well, yeah, I think the implication of it is that she's going to blow them all. I think that the reality of it is not supposed to be quite correct because there's like tinkly music playing and it seems a little off. So I think that it's more of a more of a perception of her, that it's like, oh, she's giving it up to all these boys except me, because we get the unseen attacker who then she sticks her high heel down the throat of. And after she's gotten on her knees with her dress top down, so it's like, I just think it's supposed to imply this feeling of jealousy and whatever.
Now here's something weird. I've looked up plot descriptions on different websites of this movie, and more than one, I think maybe even the Wikipedia summary, emphasizes that because one of the boys strikes her. Slaps her and then runs away, and then the other boys chase him down, and that's when she jams her bright red high heel in his mouth while he's beaten up. Yes, so we know that something is up with that. Perhaps this was an experience from Bertie's life that explains why he hates women. But in reality, Peter Neal is the secondary killer and main antagonist of this picture. I think, despite the fact that they don't do a good job hiding that from here on to my satisfaction, I think this is a good twist and a good spin on Argento's usual thing. Because it is genuinely like, when you see that Bertie's dead and you know he is the killer, and then the movie just keeps going, that is very unsettling and weird. Yes. When it's like, oh, I'm still watching them talk to Peter Neal. Why is this still going on? I think it's very effective at subverting your expectation in that moment.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I like, as a, meta text, if you are making a movie where you're like, oh, this author is being blamed for the actions that are in his book. Is he actually on some level to blame? And then in the end, you're like, yes, he did it all. He is a murderer. is a delightful surprise when it's like, oh, you think this movie is going to exonerate me. No, I'm saying, yes, I am a murderer. It is all my fault.
Which is especially pointed given that Argento has firmly placed himself in the in the subtext of the movie as the Peter Neal figure.
Exactly.
So yeah, Bertie is dead. The reason I wanted to spoil this now. Obviously, Peter Neal has killed Bertie here. He's the one who threw the axe in his head after they split up. The contrivance of having them split up right before this happens makes it terribly obvious that Peter Neal is the one who did it. That's something I don't like about this. It feels like if there was some way to conceal that it was him, this would be like much, much better. If it were genuinely a shock when you finally see that he is a killer, not the killer, as I said, two killers. But do you think that he actually hit himself with this rock? Or is this a bit more stagecraft like he employs later in this movie?
Oh, I think that he must hit himself with the rock because, maybe it's not. But I think he wouldn't be wearing the bandage around in a way that would be noticeable to the cops. So that's but it sure looks like he did it. I would prefer if it were stagecraft, though. Then later when he ends up having sex with his assistant, I was very upset. I was like, you have a concussion, you're bleeding from your head, and you're just like, no, I don't need to go to the doctor. At this point I was like, there's no better way that we could be doing this, because he's like, I don't have to see the cops. They don't want my opinion. It's like the cops keep coming to you and asking your opinion. They say, I'm not good at following that, like figuring out who the killer was in detective stories. Could you just do it for us? And then when you basically do, you're like, I don't want to get them involved. Obviously, again, it's because he is it. But it, from anyone else that's in that scene's perspective, they should be like, no, we should tell the police this because it's really, really relevant.
Much more relevant than when you were spending days with them before. But I do, what I like about this, and what for me works really well in this, is that all his behavior previous to this was genuine. He was not trying to lead them astray. He had killed no one until he kills Cristiano Berti.
Except the lady back in Rhode Island.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. Yes, he had killed one other person and gotten away with it in a scene that we will be seeing towards the end of the movie that is part of what horrified me. So, he then, he goes back to the house when the cops are checking out the crime scene, and the cop is like, "What happened to your head?" Because he's wearing a bandage. And Peter Neal's like, "Oh, just beating my brains out on this case." And you know what? It's not a flub if it works, and it works perfectly. The cop is like, "Oh, he must have just banged his head," but he's clearly in good humor.
Right.
So he throws them off the scent here, and then he starts really foreshadowing this. He's like, the cop's like, "I don't know, I'm not good at this. Are you a good cop? You're a writer, tell me." And then he's like, "I just have this hunch that something is missing. Somebody who should be dead is alive, or someone who should be alive is already dead. You know, there's a line from Arthur Conan Doyle. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth." Mm-hmm. And it's like, I mean, first of all, at the point he says this, there's still enough people alive that it obviously isn't, but it could be someone else.
Right.
But also, you know, I like this. But again, this would be so good if he actually had a way to make you not think it's Peter Neal by the end.
Right.
But ultimately, so many flies start dropping here that there's simply no one else you could suspect. We learned that Bulmer, John Saxon, is having an affair with Peter Neal's fiancée, ex-wife, which is it?
Fiancé. They say
fiancée.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is in Rome. He's thought he's been seeing her around. She is in Rome. She comes into his office like 10 seconds after Peter Neal leaves.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was so hard hiding out there knowing that he was so close, but I want you so bad, John Saxon. I love your hat. I love your new hat. And so they agree, well, let's meet at this plaza where we have been meeting, quite brazenly, out in the... When you see this place, you're like, there's nowhere it's easier to see two people cheating on each other than this bench in the middle of this enormous, wide-open area. It's just a few clicks off from the place where the blind guy dies in Suspiria. It's like a lot of sight lines here.
Yeah, it's another of Dario Argento has a lot of great waiting in public scenes. This is another one of them, and he sees like a couple having a fight. So it like implies like, oh yes, everyone will see us. The man walks off and the lady's crying, and then next scene a little boy does a wheelie on a bicycle. And there's been a wheelie on the motorcycle before the younger lady gets tossed when things are good with that guy. He is holding a magazine, is John Saxon, and who's on the cover of that magazine? Why, it's the answer to the question of what would you say this says about society at the time? It's Ronald Reagan. Remember to incorporate this magazine into your answer. Because he had been president for 2 years?
That's all well and good. I don't think Reagan has too much to do with this movie. I have to be honest with you. I don't know what I'm going to answer for that, but we'll see. It's just this very long... He really luxuriates, and here's John Saxon sitting on a bench. He doesn't look cool on the bench. He looks a little awkward. Because you're just sitting there, it's like, oh, I'm fucking my client's fiance. I'm this hot guy who's having this illicit affair. But what this really hammers home, like, oh, I'm waiting for my secret rendezvous. At the end of the day, you're just a middle-aged man with a stupid hat sitting on a bench, just waiting. Like, you don't look cool. Nothing about this is glamorous. Maybe it's a little glamorous once you're having sex, but the meetup is just what it is. Yeah. So there's a couple having an argument. There's guys biking. There's, like, a kid who's, like, kicking a soccer ball around. And then John Saxon stands up. He looks, sees someone he maybe vaguely recognizes, and then boom, 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 3 knives to the gut, 3 stabs. John Saxon on the ground, blood everywhere, crawling, crying. And this happens, again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I've seen in an Argento movie someone be killed like this just in the middle where there's like 100 people around, scattered
Yeah.
around in broad daylight. But it seems like he just does it and then walks off.
Yeah.
And nobody sees this happen, the moment of
No.
it happen, which is sort of set up by how everyone is sort of doing something else.
Yeah.
And then the woman who has just been dumped seemingly is walking by. She sees that he's bleeding. She's already crying, distracted. Sees that he's dying and starts screaming. So John Saxon is dead. His hat could not save him. Does the hat fly off when he gets attacked?
I don't know. I didn't even notice it in the scene. Was he even wearing it? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
He has it originally, early in the scene. It would be a good callback if it flies off, but I didn't clock it. So, he's down. And then, who else gets killed here?
She does. The mistress gets killed. Not
The
right
mistress,
here,
yes. Not the fiancé, and not the, or is it the policewoman? There's one more woman alive at the end of this than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
As I say,
Well,
they all kind of blend together.
We've lost track, but
Yeah. This is where I said cut out the boring bits. I think from here until the exciting part at the end, there's just kind of some meandering and, is he going to go to this other hotel? Is he going to go to Paris?
Yeah.
You know, that, like, too many misdirections too late into the game where we've already figured it out. And,
I think that's I think that's fair. And again, I think that wouldn't be a problem if he had cracked the question of how to conceal that it's Peter Neal. Like, you needed to have another plausible explanation for this, and there really isn't at this point.
Yeah.
All the red herrings could not be more evidently red herrings. None of them like, oh yeah, I'm sure it was John Saxon all along.
Right.
If they had done more to like make that credible, maybe, but it's pretty clear what's happening here. So Peter Neal is like, he agrees to, I won't leave town because you want me here for more book stuff, but I'll tell everyone I'm leaving. His fiancée is now in Rome. She is staying in this house that has the aforementioned brutalist structure you referenced earlier. And she's hiding out there. She's terrified because her lover, Bulmer, has been killed. So she's like on the phone with the
assistant. Anne.
With the assistant, with Peter Neal's assistant. They do not know that the other one has been fucking Peter Neal, right?
Right.
Is that clear to them? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, right. I think she knows the fiance had been having sex with her fiance, but yes, and she's got a gun, the fiance, and she's like, I don't know, it feels like there's two of me. So we're trying to set up, like, maybe she's been the one doing this all along.
Yeah. But
but
she's
it
sitting at
doesn't
a
really make
kitchen
sense.
table next to a window with the gun out. And this is, we're approaching the big climax, and once it starts, I tell you what, I knew this was the movie, because in one of I think Argento's best jump scare moments, you know something's going to come through this window, right? You know something's coming through the window, but the fact that you know that, it still pops, and that's the sign of someone who knows what they're doing.
That's true.
Someone comes crashing through the window, and it is an axe. The axe cuts off her hand that is holding the gun. Sorry, you don't have a gun anymore. You don't have a hand. She staggers.
Not just the hand, like halfway up the forearm. It's like Southland Tales. It's like there was a 10-inch discrepancy, you know,
in the cutting radius.
I laughed out loud. I mean, you know, in a scared way. It wasn't like haha funny. It's, you know, the fun horror kind of way. Because it's not a very realistic looking hand. You're not full on horrified, but I was like, not as much as I was later on in this movie. I let out a full on shout. But he chases her down with the axe. There's
when she loses the hand, she staggers back and like swings her arm and sprays blood over this wall. And that was the moment I knew this was the movie that had traumatized me, because that was the image, was this blood spraying in a geyser across this like perfectly white wall. So I see this and then I'm like, oh God, no. It was like every synapse in my brain was firing, and it was firing. BAD, bad. Get me out of here. I had misremembered how it happened. I thought it was an axe like up top as happens later. But no, it was an offhand.
Yeah, and he goes and hits her a couple more times, and then is chopping her just sort of on the ground. But she's already
just
dead,
to do
I
it.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get the slow pan up to reveal, oh my god, it's Peter Neal, the author of Tenebrae. He was the murderer. Does this mean Dario Argento considers himself a murderer? Is he a murderer?
Culpable? Maybe.
None
Maybe
of us
literally.
know. Maybe.
We don't know.
It's possible. We don't know.
Yeah. But then the cop comes in, and he has now killed another lady, but it's not the It's not. He thought it was his assistant, but then it wasn't. This bit where I'm like, I don't really care anymore. Like, I don't care who lives through this movie. We've already revealed the reveal. All of this, I was like, this feels so digressive at a weird point.
Also, despite being very locked into this and having watched this for the second time, I don't know who the extra woman here is. It must be the cop. It must be the female cop.
She doesn't look like her.
But he reacts with horror that he has done this as though this was someone he didn't want to kill. But it's not the woman he's been fucking because she's still alive. So I don't know. But let's set that aside. Yeah. The male cop is now here, as is the woman, as is his assistant who he's been sleeping with. She's horrified. The cop is also horrified, although he kind of pieced this together, as we'll later learn, before they got here. When the cop aims his gun, Peter Neal's like, no! Like, which is good. Make it clear, no, he's not. He's still a physical coward. He does not want to die. We then do a quick cut to the second image I remembered in my tortured childhood memory, which, me having these fractured memories kind of makes me in a Tenebrae thing. I'm kind of in the world of Tenebrae, because my fractured memory is of Peter Neal's fractured memory, of when he hides in the bushes and then jumps out and stabs 3 times in the gut the woman who he saw at the beach. And I guess some people think she sexually humiliated him. I don't entirely get that. But that's what some people say, so whatever. And this, again, watching it, I was like, yeah, I can see why I remembered that, because it's very weird. Like, if you don't have a context for it, it's like, what am I seeing? Oh, I'm a guy in a bush. And, like, he comes out, and she sees him coming out of the bush, but she almost doesn't react. Like, if you saw someone who you knew hated you emerge from the bushes advancing on you, even if you didn't notice they have a gleaming silver knife in their hand, you'd be like, whoa! But she doesn't really react until he, like, lurches over and just starts stabbing her in the stomach. It's a tight zoom on her stomach and blood starts coming out. And I was like, well, in a way, I'm glad that I finally figured out what movie it was after all these years, but I do feel a bit sick to my stomach now. I am not feeling good. So we get a little bit of exposition, basically, this incident where he killed this woman was some sort of repressed memory he's had, but when he realized that Berti was obsessed with his book and was doing these murders, that, like, activated him. It, like, unlocked his impulse to kill. As I said earlier, I think the scenes towards the very beginning when he just sees this guy and there's some vibe between them, in full view of the plot, I actually like that moment a lot. Because I feel like it is this almost quasi-spiritual, unspoken thing of like, oh, you and me, we're both misogynist murderers. Neither one of us has any way to know it yet. But we are actually, as I say, the stand users are drawn to each other. We are the same in some deep way.
Right. Real recognize real.
Yeah. Got that dog in him. Got that hiding in the bushes with the knife in him. So he sort of explains part of what was up with him. And then the cop is like, all right, go over there. Don't get close to us. I've got my gun on you. He walks over and just starts, like, rifling through his pockets. I'm like, why are you letting him do this? And then with his back turned, he's doing something, and they turn him around, and he has dragged a razor across his neck, killing himself. Blood everywhere.
I screamed.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that and for the visceral nature of it and just the whole thing. I was ready for him to attack him because there was a moment where you sort of see a blade earlier, and then he's not carrying it, and it's kind of like, oh, what happened to that? Was that on purpose? Did I imagine that? Like, that's a good thing. And so I'm like, oh, he's gonna come at him with the blade. It's like, no, he's already doing it to himself. I loved it. This was the high point. And again, now we don't get like a satisfying bit here because it's like, yeah, okay, so he's dead. Then they go out to the car, and then the cop's like, okay, wait for me here. And so you're like, wait, oh, something's still going on. It's a little unsettling, but I'm just kind of over being unsettled by this point.
I think this is cumbersome because once he's like, I'm going back in the house, then you know something's off here.
Yeah.
He runs back in, and what's this? There's no dead body. Dead body gone.
Yeah.
And then he goes and slowly... First of all, if the dead body's gone, that means he's not dead. And if he's not dead, I'd be a little more on alert than this.
Yeah. Instead, he's finally cracking the case. He's doing his first good police work of the whole movie, where he's like, well, but how could it have been done? Oh, this blood is fake. It's too sticky. Oh, and look at this razor. You push the button on it, and it shoots out fake blood.
I love that he uses a fake razor to fake kill himself. I love this so much. It's one of the few things... It's like... There are some things in this movie that I like a lot that I think are genuinely surprising. None more surprising than, no, he just had like a party trick razor that sprays. This is like a Halloween prop that he successfully used to bail out of being arrested for multiple murders.
Yeah.
And it is also, I think, effectively foreshadowed because he recoils in horror when he thinks he's going to be shot, which should indicate to the cop that he's not going to kill himself. He's not.
Yeah, that's
he
true.
fears death. He does not wish to die. So he has. And this also means that he just had this prepped, because he's killing people with an axe. The razor was Bertie's thing.
Yeah.
So he just has a fake razor to sort of play into that image as a last break glass in case of emergency. If I'm cornered, I have to figure out a way to turn around so people can't see, and then pretend I've slit my own throat. This is the most, you know, you don't, under no circumstances do you have to hand it to the butcher of Rome. In this circumstance, you do have to hand it to him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then he sees it's a fake razor. Now you know everything that's happened here. He doesn't look around. He just stands there staring at it, and boom, axe to the back.
Yeah, I wrote down The Shining Who. But also we get the moment where he like is standing and looking, and then he bends down to like get the razor or something, and Peter is directly behind him. Like he was hidden just behind his head. It's really that one was really good for me. And he stands back up into the same like silhouette, and it's like, oh, that's why I didn't see him, even though you can kind of see an ear down there. So he's dead. I asked if this is a cry for help from Dario Argento. This film.
Yeah,
I think it's like, someone put me away.
I'm a slasher, and I must be stopped.
You're a what?
A slasher of prices. Just kidding.
Well, nobody did. I think he's still alive.
Best I knew.
Yeah. So, well, knock on wood, if you like the man, if you love him and care about him, you should be very worried that we're doing this podcast, because a startling number of old people involved in stuff we do, they die very quickly after we release our episode. We will see if Dario is next. So he's dead now, and the assistant, she's like, this is weird. Why did he go back in there? She goes to follow in, and she is trying to open the door, but in the scuffle with the cop, that spiky brutalist structure tilted over a little bit and is now keeping the door from opening. So Peter can see her through this lightly frosted glass. She doesn't know what's going on inside. She's like almost got the door pushed open. So it seems like he's like, oh, this is going to be my beast mode kill. I'm going to run so that I get there right when the door is open and just hack her to pieces. This is me, blood rage, Kaioken, times 10. This will be the ultimate and most joyful of my kills. But then he charges up right as the door opens. Doing what? That's right, knocking the brutalist structure over, impaling him in the stomach with its brutalist spine. I bet you liked this.
Yes, I did like it. What I liked best about it, because I was pretty happy that it did end up being a factor. This one, not the one from earlier, but that he is, as you say, his hands are too bloody and the thing is too slippery to try and get at. It's like,
Yeah.
I was bothered that we were it was taking this long to wrap up the movie at this point, because I loved the moment of him slitting his throat. If you want to have that not be the ending, I guess it's okay. But it was so good, and then it's just like, and some other stuff happens, and so him getting impaled, I was like, that's fine, but I really want it to be over. But him just like zip 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 zip, I can't quite get it, because it's too. Now I'm dead. It took too long, and now I'm
pinned.
dead.
Well, I mean, he would have died anyway. He's clean through the gut with this thing. It's pinned him to the wall too, and he does just get it out right before he dies. But this is reminiscent of the in Dr. No, where he can't climb the thing because of his metal hands.
Yeah.
This is a movie that culminates in the villain being his hands being in one way, shape, or form too slippery to save himself. So that's Tenebrae. We get the thunderous Tenebrae theme to lead us out. That's it. That's all she wrote. This was both very upsetting but very gratifying to me to see after all those years, to revisit something that really, I mean, now you having seen the end of this movie, that's not something you would have wanted to see secretly when you were 8.
No, certainly
right?
not.
Surely.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
I would have screamed when he cut his own throat. I wouldn't have been able to stay for the rest of it, because Dad and or Mom would have turned around.
I
like,
was
who's yelling back there?
I was too dedicated. I was like locked in on like the one thing that can't happen is they can't know, because the fact that I saw something so horrible would only make them angrier at me for having snuck out.
Yeah.
So I knew like I have to. So I think when the Tenebrae music comes back in, that's probably when I made my move to get out of there, because it's enough sound. I was so locked in. The apartment had all these spots that would creak. And, like, I snuck around enough at night that I was very good at it. Like, I knew, like, here's how much of my weight I can shift. Here's how I have to move my foot to decrease the odds. I was really like the Solid Snake of my apartment.
Sure.
Like, I knew every little corner. I knew how to get through the house unheard. And clearly I did, because I would remember if they had caught me, and they didn't.
Right.
So,
Your dad was always like, must be the wind.
yeah. Do you remember? Did you leave a cardboard box in the kitchen? It's weird. The flaps are sticking out the sides, like there's nothing on the bottom. That always bothers me in those games, that the bottom doesn't appear sealed.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's a dead giveaway that someone's in there.
Yeah. Whose Chris-sized footprints are these? So
whose footsies are these?
Footy pajamas. Yeah. So you liked it? You think it's a good one? You think it's better than Suspiria somehow, maybe? Or anyway, more your favorite?
I do. I prefer it to Suspiria. I find it, I mean, as I said, due to my history with it, why would I find it uniquely affecting? I think that's obvious. So I'm not here to tell you that it's, you know, I don't know. I doubt, I'm sure many people would disagree with me. But for me, I think it's scarier than Suspiria. I think there are more things in it that genuinely surprise me than Suspiria, even if it doesn't, you know. For me, it's one click away from being a truly great movie. And that problem is that you know Peter Neal did it by the time it's revealed. And if he could have figured out how to crack that nut, you know, who knows how highly I'd recommend it. But as it is, yeah, I think it's a solid 4-bagger for me. It's not a 5-bagger, but it is a 4. It's, if I were rating it on Letterboxd, 4 stars with the heart. I'm giving it the heart too, which denotes that this is I use that to be like, this is of personal significance to me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
a 2-star movie could get a heart. You know, it's not a measure of quality in the same way. It's more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I do. Suspiria's music is better there's more of it. The Tenebrae soundtrack, the thing that you're here for is the da 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 da. it's that part that plays in all the big moments. I suppose I would say that I think I like that music as much, if not more, than any individual music in Suspiria. But I think, taken on the whole, obviously Suspiria has like 5 different tunes that are, at peak Goblin level. So yeah. I'm not saying that it's clearly a better soundtrack. And just pretty much like it. I like the kills. I like the Bertie kill. I like how weird it all gets there when you're like, oh, the movie's still going. Like, it seems like that irritated you. It only fascinated me more, I think. I liked the repeated thing. You don't have a problem with that in Return of the King. That movie should have ended 4 times by the time it finally does.
Doesn't have enough endings.
It's got
we don't see the scouring of the Shire.
Oh no! And then the desolation of Smaug. The ending comes too soon. He just flies away, folks. He flies away, and that's the end of the movie.
That's true.
Didn't seem so desolate to me.
Yeah, it's fine. For me, this one was fine. I think that if I hadn't seen any other Argento movies, I'd just be like, oh yeah, that's an okay movie, and it works best because it's playing on things that he has done better elsewhere for me, and the parts that weren't that, where it was just sort of a movie, were just sort of a movie and not in a particularly charming, like, low budget way. It was just kind of an okay thing. I don't know. It didn't really grab me, but I am okay that it grabbed you. I think that's appropriate, and I liked the stuff that I liked quite a lot. And the ending, just that I mean, not the final ending, but the up to the ending, it's throat slitting. Supposed that was so good that it really, you end on a high enough note. It's easy to forgive a lot of more boringer bits. I think it was okay, but I don't think I'll be rewatching it anytime soon or particularly recommend it. That's my review.
Well, if I were watching giallo movies, it's high on my Halloween rotation. So, yeah, I think that's about it. We've gone pretty deep on this one, appropriately so. I've been very excited to bring this one to the show, and it's been a long time coming because I wanted to do the movie that I had this memory of when we started the show. Yeah. It took me 7 seasons to actually figure out what movie that was. Yeah, and I would see other Argentos, like maybe it's this one, but I just never happened to do this one because, frankly, you don't hear about this one so much. This of the like early and classic giallo run he did. This one's sort of left out in the rain, I think, for the most part. I certainly had not heard of it, even when we were watching more of them together. So, yeah. A good time was had by all, and I will say nobody, no matter how old, could not love this movie.
Oh. Well, tell me this then. How do you think it affected you watching this as a kid?
Well, I didn't see the whole thing. I think seeing the whole thing would have given me more context for what it was. And it still would have been awful, but it might have been better than, previous guest on the show, Jessica, when we did Pumpkinhead 2. She had a very similar story about, like, seeing that part of that movie, which, frankly, as harrowing as it is, and I realize it's not a contest, is nowhere near as grotesque as what I saw here. Yeah. And I remember her saying that she just, like, ran in her garage or something and was, like, banging her head on the wall, like, wanting to forget what she had seen but being unable to. I would say that's a similar to how I felt. Like, I couldn't even, when I was a little kid, like, I couldn't handle seeing blood in movies or TV shows. Like, if I'm watching a show and someone's got a little squib because they get shot, I'm, like, out of the room. I didn't even like knowing there was blood in my body. That was like, I didn't like thinking about, oh, that stuff you hate seeing in movies? Yeah, that's what's running you, and it's all in you. And if something bad happened to you, it would spray everywhere. Like, that was too much for me. And so, I would say it affected me negatively. I think it gave me a lot of bad feelings. I think it exacerbated my anxiety about a number of things. Razor slashes, impalement, stabbings. And it also, I don't know how, but it was clear to me at a certain point that it was an Italian film, or Italian in origin, And that made me just generally fearful of like Italian horror movies into adulthood. It was this push and pull thing where like when I started watching Argento stuff, not knowing he was the one who had directed that, I was always edgier about it because like so much it's a shared language and a shared aesthetic through so many of his movies that like the other ones, Deep Red and, you know, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, it always felt like they were prickling at the same part of my brain without ever getting to the part I remembered.
Yeah.
And that made me deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In the United Kingdom, it was added to the list of, quote, video nasties and could not be sold until 1999. It was not released in the US until 84. And when it was originally released under the title Unsane. And it received a mostly negative critical reception. The original version later became widely available, this is according to Wikipedia, and has come to be considered one of Argento's best films by many fans and critics. So I'm not alone. People like Tenebrae.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Would you show any future children Tenebrae?
No.
Why not?
I just don't want people to see that much Italian energy on the screen. It's for reasons of self-loathing.
Like the guy in the rags. What's though you say that, what is the most kid-friendly bit of Tenebrae?
The part where he's bicycling and then the car's already there. That's something that if you're a kid, you might be like, that's so cool, he gets to bike. And then, I mean, not really, but there's not much kid-friendly to this, is there?
No.
It's the part where Bertie asks him how he feels about exterminating the human perverts. I think that's the kid-friendliest part.
When would your mom have walked in?
She wouldn't. She would be watching it in front of me. I'm the one who walked in, and I'm hiding behind her.
When would your Chris have walked in? At the end of the movie.
At the worst part.
Yeah. I think, any of the times that there's just boobs on the whatever. It's a whole conversation that's been had a million times, but like, why do people want this? It's just because you can show anything, and so you got to put it all up there. But is it a turn on for people? And if it is, should we be encouraging that it is not a problem that immediately afterward you get massive blood and stabbing? You would think that would make it so you weren't excited to see the boobs. So it's sort of, if you're a good person, it makes you uncomfortable with boobs. If you're a bad person, it makes you extra excited.
Yeah. This is a question raised by the 80s POV shot on video horror film Video Violence. Which you can watch anytime. It's now on my Plex. I consider it a good POV, low-budget video horror movie. I recommend it this Halloween season.
All right. But what would you say this says about society at the time?
Well, okay, so get this. It's 1982. A fresh-faced Ronald Reagan is in the White House.
Fresh-faced.
No, I mean, I don't know what I can say about what it says about society. Obviously, these horror movies, this is pre-Friday the 13th, 82, right? When does that drop? Or is it right around there?
I think it's around there. I thought it was 1980, but that's really just a guess.
But we are moving towards, in the 80s, and especially the late 80s, early 90s, a type of American slasher movie that will become dominant and all-encompassing, that has a lot of the same tropes that Argento really lays down in the 70s, but with a decidedly more, a more American, a more American spin on it, where, when you watch Friday the 13th, you still have the thing where it's like, look at this topless woman who will be murdered because she has breasts and sometimes sex. Mm-hmm. That means you will be murdered. But without the, the panting, psychosexual, obsessions that, are all throughout Argento's stuff. So it's sort of like the stripping of the psychosexual from a ritual that is itself deeply psychosexual, but, America can't deal with that being foregrounded in the same way.
Right,
They
yeah.
have to be like, no, I like drinking my beer, I like looking at TNA, and I like being scared. And that's the reason these things are all coming together in this way for me.
Yeah.
Americans coming up on this genre are not prepared to, like, sit as close to the filth and, like, the potential, like, deep wrongness of this as a whole premise as the Italians were in the day.
I think that's pretty good.
Alright, that's about it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening or watching. Our theme music is by Seth Milstein, aka No Rush. You can find his work at norush85.bandcamp.com. You can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast. Like and subscribe us on YouTube. And follow us on social media at Now We Know Pod on Instagram. You can check out Twitch at Now We Know Pod on Twitch. I've been playing Metal Gear on there. There will be more to come on Twitch. And check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/nowweknow, where you can subscribe for a pittance, a low fee of $5 per month to turn this into a weekly podcast. You get 2 bonus episodes a month about all manner of more contemporary stuff that we don't typically tackle on the main feed. So even if you're not sure you want to subscribe, check us out, see what you think. Want to be part of the show? Call the Now We Know hotline at
415-349-3659 and leave a message.
So now we know. But what do we know?
Rose is displeased. What to do?
Brad's the executive plumber.
Does your kind ever think about love, Chuck?
Well, ask him, but I don't think he'll be very keen. He's already got one, you see.
If I were the boy in the purple socks, I'd hang myself.
The heart of a pig?
Muffins are so simple.
Where did Doc and Dopey sleep?
There's something a little yeek about a boy that's never played baseball.
Peckerhead.
10 years ago, nuclear was the preferred waste.
My ass is twitching. You paper make my ass twitch.
Hey, Yuri, don't smush package. What, are you kidding me?
To think, the next time I shoot someone, I could get arrested.
Of course, a tracking device. But why didn't we just use that from the beginning?
As a natural leader of the children, you're doing a horrible job.
Justin, you gotta listen. The heat panels, they're hot, they burn. You gotta... The heat panels.
I was jazzing. Did you like it?
Dad hid everything in the cigar boxes.
Many say Mozart is the greatest composer, but, well, actually, I prefer Depeche Mode.
I wish I'd never written that book.
You don't mean that.
So now we know.
We know now.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Happy Halloween, everybody.